हे गाइस व्हाट्सअप। क्या हाल चाल, तो कैसे हो आप सब? ठीक है। तो आज से हमने बायोलॉजी का ही रीडिंग स्टार्ट कर दिया है। ठीक है। अगर आपको अच्छा लगेगा तो वीडियो को लाइक करिएगा। ठीक है। तो हम लोग स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं। Today we are discuss about biology class 11th NCERT book, English medium. Okay. Hmm. Come on, let's go. It is the chapters and unit. Unit first, diversity in the living world. Chapter 1, the living world. Chapter 2, biological classification. Chapter 3, plant kingdom. Chapter 4, animal kingdom. Unit 2, structural organization in plant and animals. Chapter 5, morphology of flowering plant. Chapter 6, anatomy of flowering plant. Chapter 7, structural organization in animals. Unit 3, cell structure and functions. Chapter 8, cell, the unit of life. Chapter 9, biomolecules. Chapter 10, cell cycle and cell division. Unit 4, plant physiology. Chapter 11, transport in plant. Chapter 12, mineral nutrition. Chapter 13, photosynthesis in higher plant. Chapter 14, respiration in plants. Chapter 15, plants growth and development. Unit 5, human physiology. Chapter 16, digestion and absorption. Chapter 17, breathing and exchange of gases. Chapter 18, body fluid and circulation. Chapter 19, extreme excretory product and their elimination. Chapter 20, locomotion and movement. Chapter 21, neural control and coordination. Chapter 22, chemical coordination and integration. Okay. We are discuss about unit first, diversity in the living world. In one unit, I have four chapters. The living world. Second, biological classification. Third, plant kingdom. Four, animal kingdom. Okay. We are reading NCERT of class 11th and unit first, diversity in the living world. Biology is the science of life from and living process. The living world comprises and amazing diversity of living organisms. Early man could easily perceive the difference between the innate matter and living organism. Early man defined some of the innate matter, wind, sheep, fire, etc., and some among the animals and plants. A common feature of all such a form of animated animate object was the sense of a way or fear on that they evoked. The description of living organism, including a human being, began much later in human history. Society which in anthropocentric view of biology could register limited progress in biological knowledge. Systematic and mononumental description of life form brought in out necessity detailed systems of identification, nomenclature, and classification. Mm, the biggest spin of such studies was the recognition of the sharing of similarities among living organisms, both horizontally and vertically, that all present day living organisms are related to each other and also to all organisms that ever lived on this earth was revelations which humbled man and led to cultural movements for conservation of biodiversity in the following chapter of this unit. You will get a description including a classification of animals and plants from taxonomist perspective. Hmm. Ernest Meyer. Ernest Meyer 1904 to 2004. Born on 5 July 1904 in Kempten, Germany, Ernest Mayr, the Harvard University revolutionary biologist who has been called the Darwin of 20th century, was one of the 100 greatest scientists of all time. Mayer joined Harvard Faculty of Art and Science in 1953 and retired in 1975, assuming the title Alexander Agassiz Professor of Zoology Emeritus. Throughout his nearly 80 years career, his research spanned ornithology, taxonomy, geography, evolution, systematics, and the history and philosophy of biology. He almost mm, single-handedly made of the origin of species diversity. Thus, central questions of evolutionary biology that it is today. He also pioneered the currently accepted definition of a biology species. Mayer was awarded the three prize widely regarded as the Triple Crown of Biology. The Bolzan Prize in 1983, the International Prize for Biology in 1994, and the Kraft Food Prize in 1999. Mayer died at the age of 100 in the year 2004. Chapter 1, The Living World. In this chapter, we are discussed the important topic of what is the living diversity in the living world, taxonomic categories, and taxonomical aids. Aids means help. Okay, come on, let's go. How wonderful is the living world! The wide range of living types is amazing, extraordinary habitat in which we find living organisms, be it cold mountain, deciduous forest, ocean, freshwater lakes, desert, or hot springs, leaves us speechless. The beauty of a galloping horse, of the migratory birds, the valley of flowers, or the attacking shark evokes mm, and a deep sense of wonder. The ecology, conflict, and cooperation among members of the population and among populations of a community, or even the molecular traffic inside a shell, make us deeply reflect on what indeed is life. This question has two implicit questions within it. The first, the first is a technical one and seek answers to what living is as opposite to the non-living, and the second is a philosophical one, and six answer to what the purpose of life is. As a saint, we shall not attempt answering the second question. We will try to reflect on what is living. What is living? When we try to define the living, we conventionally look for distinctive characteristic exhibited by living organism, growth, reproduction, and ability to sense environment and mount a suitable response come to our mind immediately as an unequal feature of living organism. One can add a few for features like metabolism, ability to self-replicate, and self-organize, interact, and emergence to this list. Let us try to understand each of these. All living organisms grow, increase in the mass, and increase in the number of individuals are twin characteristic of a growth. A multicellular organism A multicellular organism grow by cell division. In plant, this growth by cell division occurs continuously throughout their lifespan. In in animals, this growth is seen only up to a certain age. However, the cell division occurs in certain tissue to replace lost cells. Unicellular organisms grow by cell division. One can easily observe this in vitro culture by the simply counting the number of cells under the microscope. In majority of higher animals and plants, growth and reproductions are mutually exclusively events. One must remember that increase in body mass is considered as a growth. Non-living objects also grow. If we take increase in the body mass as a for criterion for growth, mountain boulders and sand mounds do grows. However, this kind of growth exhibit by non-living object is by accumulation of material on the surface. In a living organism, growth is from inside. Growth therefore cannot not be taken as a defining property of a living organism. Condition under which it can observe it in all living organisms have to be explained, and then we understand that it is a characteristic of living systems. A dead organism does not growth. Reproduction, likewise, a characteristic of a living organism. In multicellular organisms, reproduction refers to the production of progeny, processing features more or less similar to those of parents. Invariably and implicitly, we refer to sexual reproduction. Organism represent bisexual means also fungi multiply and spread easily due to the million of asexual spores they produce in lower organism like yeast and hydra. We observe budding in plantaria platform. We observed to regeneration. A fragment organism regenerate to regenerate the lost part of its body and becomes a new organism. The fungi of filamentous alga, the proteinema of mosses all easily multiply by fragmentation. When it come to unicellular organism like bacteria, unicellular alga or amoeba, reproduction is synonyms with the growth. Increase in number of cells. We have already defined growth as equivalent to increase in cells number or mass. Hence, we notice that in a single celled organism, we are not very clear about the uses of these two terms, growth and reproduction. Further, there are many organisms which do not reproduce: mules, steriles, worker bees, infertile human couples. Hence, reproductions also cannot be an all-inclusion defining characteristic of living organism. Of course, non-living object is capable of reproducing or replicating by itself. Mm, Another characteristic of life is metabolism. All living organisms are made of chemicals. These chemicals, small and big, belonging to various classes, size, functions, etc., are constantly being made and changed into some other biomolecules. These conservation are chemicals reaction or metabolic reaction. There are thousands of metabolic reactions occurring simultaneously inside all living organisms, be they unicellular or multicellular. All plants, animals, fungi, and microbes exhibit metabolism. The sum total of all the chemical reactions occurring in our body is metabolism. No non-living object exhibit metabolism. Metabolic reaction can be demonstrated outside of the body in cell-free system, and isolated metabolic reactions outside the body of an organism preformed in a test tube is neither living nor non-living. Hence, wheel metabolism is a defining feature of all living organisms without exception. Isolated metabolic reaction in vitro are not living things, but surely living reactions. Hence, cellular organization of the body is the defining feature of life form. Perhaps the most obvious and technically complicated feature of all living organism is this ability to sense their surrounding or environment and respond to these environmental stimuli, which could be physical and chemical or biological. We sense uh, we sense our environment through our sense organs. Plants respond to external factors like light, water, temperature, other organism pollutants, etc. All organisms from the prokaryotes to the most complex eukaryote can sense and respond to environmental environmental cues. Photo period affected reproduction in seasonal breeders, both plant and animals. All organisms handle chemical entering their bodies. All organisms therefore are aware of their surroundings. Human being is the only organism who is aware of himself, has a self-consciousness. Consciousness therefore becomes the defining property of the living organism. When it comes to human being, it is all the more difficult to define the living state. We observed patient lying in coma in hospitals, visually supported by machines which replace heart and lungs. The patient is otherwise brain dead. The patient has no self-consciousness. Are such patient who never come back to the normal life, living or non-living. Mm, in higher classes, you will come to know that all living phenomena, phenomena are due to underlying interaction. Properties of tissues are not present in the constituent cells but arise as a result of interaction among the constituent among the constituents cell. Similarly, properties of cellular organelles are not present in the molecules in molecular constituent of organelles but arise as a result of interaction among the molecular component comprising of the organelles. These interactions result is emergent properties at a higher level of organization. This phenomena is true in hierarchy of organizational complexity at all level. Therefore, we can say that living organisms are self-replicating, evolving, and self-regulating interaction system capable of responding to external stimuli. Biology is the story of life on Earth. Biology is the story of evolution of living organism on Earth. All living organisms, present, past, and future, are linked to one another by the sharing of a common genetic material, but to varying degrees. Diversity in the living world. If you look around, you will see a large varieties of living organism, be it potated plants, insects, birds, your pets, or other animals and plants. There are also several organisms that you cannot see with your naked eye, they are all they are all around you. If you were to increase the area that you make observation in the range of the variety of organisms that you see would increase. Obviously, if you were the visit a dense forest, you would probably see a much greater number and kind of living organism in it. Each different kinds of plant, animals, or living organism that you see represent a species. The number of species that are known and describe range between 1.7 to 1.8 millions. These refer to biodiversity or the number and types of organisms present on Earth. We would remember here that as we explore new areas and even older ones, new organisms are continuously being identified. As stated earlier, there are millions of plants and animals in the world. we don't uh, we know the plants and animals in our town area by their local names. Their local names would varying from place to place. Even with a country probably you would recognize the confusions that would be created if we did not find ways and means to talk to each other and to refer them to organize organism we are talking about. Hence, there is a need to standardized the naming of living organism such that a particular organism is known by same names all over the world. This process is called nomenclature. Obviously, nomenclature or naming is only possible when the organism described correctly and we know to what organism the name is attached to. This is identification. In order to facilitate the study, number of scientists has established producers to assign a scientific name to each known organism. This is acceptable to biologists all over the world. For plants, scientific names are based on agreed principles and criteria, which are provided in International Code for Botanical Nomenclature (ICBN). You may ask how are animals named? Animals taxonomists have evolved International Code of Zoological Nomenclature (ICZN). The scientific names ensure that each organism has only one name. Descriptions of any organism should enable the people in any part of the world to arrive at the same name. They also ensure that such a name has not been used for any other known organism. Biologists follow universally acceptable principles to provide scientific names to known organism. Each names has two components: the generic name and the specific epithet. This system of providing a name with two components is called binomial nomenclature. This naming system given by Calorus Linnaeus is being practiced by biologists all over the world. This naming system using a two-word format was found convenient. Let us take the example of mango to understand the ways of providing scientific names better. The scientific name of mango is written as Mangifera indica. Let us see how it is a binomial names. In these names, Mangifera represent the genus, while indica is a particular species or a specific epithet. Other universal rules of nomenclature are as follows. First, biological names are generally in Latin and written in italics, and they are Latinized or derived from Latin irrespective of their organism. Second, the first word in a biological name represent the genus, while second compact denoted the specific epithet. Third, both the word in a biological names when handwritten are separately underlined or printed in italic to indicate their Latin origin. Fourth, the first word denoting a genus start with a capital letter, while the specific epithet start with a small letter. It can be illustrated with the example of Mangifera indica. Name of the other appears after the specific epithet at the end of the biological name and is written in an abbreviated from Mangifera indica lean. It is indicated that this species was the first described by Linnaeus. Since it is nearly impossible to study all the living organism, it is necessary to devise some means to make this possible. This process is classification. Classification is the process by which anything is grouped into convenient categories based on some easily observable characters. For example, we easily recognize the group such as plant or animals or dogs, cats, or insect. The moment we used of these terms, we associated certain characters with the organism in that group. What imagine do you see when you think of a dog? Obviously, each one of us will see dogs and not cats. Now, if we were to think of Alsatians, we know what we are talking about. Similarly, suppose we were to say mammals, you would of course think of animals with external ear and body hairs. Likewise, in plants, if we try to talk of wheat, the picture of each of our mind will be of wheat plants, not of rice or any other plants. Hence, all these dogs, cats, mammals, wheat, rice, plants, animals, etc. are convenient categories we use to study organism. The scientific term for these categories is taxa. Here you must recognize that taxa can be indicate categories at very different levels. Plant also from a taxa. Wheat is also a taxa. Similarly, animals, mammals, dogs are all taxa. But you know that a dog is a mammal and mammals are animals. Therefore, animals, mammals, and dogs represent taxa at different levels. Hence, based on characteristic of all living organisms can be classified into different taxa. This process of classification is taxonomy. External and internal structure along with the structure of cell development. Development process of ecological information of organism are essential and form the basis of modern taxonomic studies. Hence, categorization, identification, classification, and nomenclature are the processes that are basic to taxonomy. Taxonomy is not something a new human being have always been interested in knowing more and more about the various kind of organism, particularly with the reference to their oven as in earlier days human being needed to find a source for their basic needed of food, clothes, and shelter. Hence, the earliest classifications were the based on the uses various organisms. Human being were since long not only interested in knowing more about different kind of organism and their diversity, but also the relationship among them. This branch of study was referred to as systematic. The word systematic is derived from the Latin word systema, which means systematic arrangement of organism. Linnaeus used Systema Naturae as the title of his publication. The scope of Systematic was later enlarged to include identification, nomenclature, and classification. Systematic takes into account illusionary relationship between organisms. Taxonomic categories. Classification is not a single step process but involves a hierarchy of steps in which each steps represent as a rank or category. Since the categories is a part of overall taxonomic arrangement. It is called the taxonomic category. And all categories together constitute the taxonomic hierarchy. Each category referred to as a unit of classification in a pact represent a rank and is commonly termed as taxon. 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 Taxonomic category and hierarchy can be illustrated by an example. Insects represent a group of organisms sharing a common feature like three pairs of joint legs. It means insects are recognized concrete concrete object to can be classified and thus were given a rank or category. Can you name other such group of organism? Remember, groups represent category further denoted rank. Each rank or taxon in fact represent a unit of classification. These taxonomic groups categorized are distinct biological entities and not a merely morphological aggregate. Taxonomical studies of all known organisms have led to the development of common categories such as kingdom plants or division for plants. Mm, Class, order, family, genus, and species. All organisms, including those in plants and animal kingdoms, have a species as the lowest category. Now, the question you may ask is how to place an an organism in various categories, and the basic requirement of knowledge of characters of an individual or groups of organism. This help in same kind of organism as well as of other kinds of organism. Species lowest level. Uh, Taxonomic studies consider a group of individual organisms with fundamental similarities as a species. One should be able to distinguish on a species from other closely related species based on the distinct morphological difference. Let us consider Mangifera indica, Solanum tuberosum, potato, and Panthera leo lion. All the three names indica, tuberosum, and leo represent the specific epithet, while the first words Mangifera, Solanum, and Panthera are genera and represent another higher level of taxon or categories. Each genus may have one or more than one specific epithet representing different organism, but having morphological similarities. For example, Panthera has another specific epithet called tigris and solanum, including a species like nigrum and melongena. Human being among to the species sapiens, which is grouped in the genus Homo. The scientific name, thus, for human being is written as Homo sapiens. Genus. Genus comprises a group of related species which has more characters in common in comparison to species of other genera. We can say that genera are aggregated of closely related species. For example, potato and brinjal are two different species, but both belong to genus Solanum. Lion, Panthera, Leopard, Parados, P. leopardus, and tiger P. tigris, with several common features are all species of the genus Panthera. This genus differ from another genus Felis, which includes cats family. Family. The next category is family, has a group of related genera with still less number of similarities as compared to genus and species. Families are Families are characterized on the basis of both vegetative and reproductive features of plant species. Among plants, for example, in three different genera: Solanum, Solanum, Petunia, and Datura are placed in the family Solanaceae. Solanaceae. Among animals, for example, genus Panthera, comprising lion, tiger, leopard, is put along with genus Felis, cats, in the family Felidae. Similarly, if you observed the feature of a cat and a dog, you will find some similarity and other and some difference as well. They are separated into two different families, Felidia and Canidia, uh, respectively. Canidia dog family. Okay. Order. You have seen earlier that categories like species, genus, and families are based on a number of similar characters. Generally, order and other higher taxonomy category are identified based on the aggregator of characters. Order being a higher category Higher categories is the assemblage of families which exhibit a few similar characters. The similar characters are less in number as compared to different genders, including in a family plant. Plant families like Conolaceae, Solanaceae are included in the order Polymo Polynomials mainly based on the floral characters. The animals are carnivora, includes families like Felidia and Canidia class. These categories include related orders, for example, order Primata, comprising monkey, gorilla, and gibbon, is placed in class Mammalia along with order Carnivora, that include animals like tiger, cats, and dogs. Class Mammalia has other order also. Phylum. Classes comprising animals like fishes, amphibians, reptiles, birds, along with mammals, constituent the next higher categories called phylum. All these based on the common feature like presence of notochord and dorsal hollow neural system are included in phylum chordata. In cases of plant classes with a few similar characters are assigned to a higher category called division. Mm, Kingdom. Kingdom, all animals belong to various phyla are assigned to the higher categories called kingdom animalia. In the classification system of animals, the kingdom plantia, on other hand, is distinct and comprise all plants from various reasons. Hen- Henceforth, we will refer to these two groups as animal and plant kingdoms. The taxonomic category from species to kingdom have been shown in ascending order, starting with species in figure 1.1. These are boarded categories. However, taxonomists have also developed subcategories in this hierarchy to facilitate more sound and specific placement of various taxa. Look at here in figure 1.1. Can you recall the basis of arrangement says, for example, as we go higher from a species of kingdom, the number of characters goes on. Goes on decreasing lower the taxa more and the characteristic that the numbers within the taxon share higher categories greater is the difficulty of determining the relationship to other taxa at the same level. Hence, the problem of classification becomes more complex. Here we are discuss about figure 1.1 taxonomic categories showing hierarchical arrangement in ascending order. Kingdom, phylum or division, class, order, family, genus, species. It is a trick you remember always. Mm, Kingdom, kingdom, king. Phylum, place. Class, chase. Order, on. Family, hind. Genus, green. Species, silk. Trick. Kingdom, place, chase, on, fine, green, silk. Kingdom, place, chase, on, fine, green, silk. Kingdom, place, chase, on, fine, green, silk. Remember? Okay. Mm, Table 1.1 indicate the taxonomic category to which some common organisms like housefly, mango, and wheat belong. Table 1.1 organism with their taxonomic categories. Common names, biological names, genus, family, order, class, phylum, or division. Division is the term for plants or 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 for animals. The term is phylum in the cases. ठीक है? Okay. We are come to here. Um, Common names: man commons name, biological name Homo sapiens, genus Homo, family Hominidia, order Primata, class Mammalia, phylum Chordata, housefly, biological name Musca domestica, genus Musca, family Mucidia, order Dipetra, class Insecta, phylum Arthropoda, mango, biological name Mangifera indica, genus Mangifera, family Anacardiaceae, order Spinidals, class Dicotyledonea, phylum or division Angiospermia, wheat, biological name Triticum aestivium, genus Triticum, family Poaceae, order Poaceae, class Monocotyledonea, division or phylum Angiospermia. Okay. Taxonomic aids means help. Taxonomic study of various species of plant, animals, and other organisms are useful in agriculture, forestry, industry, and integrator in knowing our bioresource and their diversity. These study would require correct classification and identification of organism. Identification of organism required intensive laboratory and field studies. The collection of actual specimen of plant and animal species is essential and is the prime source of taxonomic study. These are also fundamental of studies and essential for training in systematic It is used for classification of an organism, and the information gathered is also stored along with the specimen. In some cases, the specimen is preserved for future studies. Biologists have established a certain procedure and technique to store and preserve the information as well as specimens. Some of these are explained to the help you understand the uses of these. Its help. Herbarium is a storehouse of collection plant specimens that are dried, preserved, and preserved on a sheet. Further, these sheets are arranged. Figure 1.2 herbarium showing a store specimen. According to a universally accepted system of classification, these specimens, along with their description of herbarium seeds, become a storehouse or repository for future uses. The herbarium seeds also carry a label providing information about the date and place of collection, English, local, and botanical name. Family collectors names, etc. Herbaria also serve as a quick referral system in taxonomical studies. Botanical garden. These specialized gardens have a collection of giving plants for reference. Plant species in this garden are grown for identification purpose, and each plant is labeled indicating its botanical scientific name and its family. The famous botanical garden are mm, at New at Kew. The famous botanical garden at Kew, England, Indian Botanical Garden, Havra, India, and at National Botanical Research Institute, Lucknow, India. Museum. Biological museums are generally set up in educational institutes such as schools and college. Museums have a collection of preserved plants and animal specimens for study, and reference specimens are preserved in the containers or jar in preservative solution. Plant and animal specimen may also be preserved as dry specimen. Insects are preserved in insect box after collecting, killing, and peeling. Larger animals like birds and mammals are usually stuffed and preserved. Museums often have a collection of skeleton of animals too. Zoological parks. These are the places where wild animals are kept in protected environments under human care, and which enable to learn about their food habits and behavior. All animals in a zoo provide as far as possible the conditions similar to the natural habitat. Children love visit these park commonly called zoos. Figure 1.3, pictures showing animal in different zoological park of India. Keys. Keys. Keys is the another taxonomical aids used for the identification of plants and animal based on the similarities and dissimilarities. Dissimilarities. The keys are based on the constructing character generally in a pair called a couplet. It represents the choice made between two opposite options. This results in acceptance of only one and rejection of the other. Each statement in the key is called a lead. Separate taxonomic keys are required for each taxonomic categories, such as families, genus, and species for identification purpose. Keys are generally analytical in nature. Flora manuals, monographs, and catalogs are some others means of recording description. They also help in correct identification. Flora contain the actual account of habitat and the distribution of plants of a given areas. These provide the index to the plants species found in a particular area. Manual are useful in providing information for identification of names of species found in a area. The monographs contain information on any other taxon. Summary. Mm, The the living world is rich in a variety. Millions of plants and animals have been identified and described, but a large number still remain unknown. The very range of organism in term of size, color, habitat, physiology, and morphological feature makes us seek the defining characteristic of living organism in order to facilitate the study of kind and diversity of organism. Biologists have evolved certain rules and principles for identification, nomenclature, and classification of organism. The branch of knowledge dealing with these aspects is referred to as taxonomy. The taxonomic studies of various species of plants and animals are useful in agriculture, forestry, industry, and in general for knowing our bioresource and their diversity. The basic of taxonomic like identification, naming, and classification of organisms are usually evolved under international codes based on the resemblance and distinct difference. Each organism is identified and assigned a correct scientific biological name comprising two words as per the binomial system of nomenclature. An organism represent occupies a place or position in the system of classification. There are many categories, ranks, and are generally referred to as taxonomic categories or taxa. All the categories constitute a taxonomic hierarchy. Taxonomists have developed a variety of taxonomic aids to facilitate identification, naming, and classification of organisms. These studies are carried out from the actual specimen which are collected from the field and preserved ref- and refers in the form of herbaria, museum, and the botanical garden and zoological park. It required the special technique for the collection and preservation of a specimens in herbaria and museums. Live specimens, on the other hand, of plants and animals are found in botanical garden or in zoological parks. Taxonomists also prepared and disseminated information through manual and monographs for further taxonomic studies. Taxonomic keys are tools that help in identification based on characteristics. Finally, we are in this chapter. On this chapter, okay. Next chapter, we are reading biological classification. Okay, tomorrow. Here exercise questions we are discuss in another video. Okay, I have many times later. Okay.